Squeaks, it's a great day to be alive. And yes, I'm really living, and so are you. But what does that mean? It sounds like a pretty simple question, right? There are living things all around us, as well as things that are not living. When I was looking around the fort's playground just a minute ago, I saw a rock, which is not a living thing. But the bird that was singing in the tree, that's definitely living, and the tree is too. But sometimes the answer to the question of what's a living thing and what's not can be a little tricky. I can hear a bird sing when I watch a video on a computer or a phone, but of course computers and phones aren't living things, even though they might make sounds exactly like things that are alive. Scientists called biologists study all sorts of living things, so they're the experts on what things are living and what things are not. After studying all kinds of life, they discovered that everything that's alive, or was once alive, has a few things in common. You can think of them kind of as rules that all living things follow. So let's take a look at some of these rules. Rule number 1. Living things need energy. You need energy to play and to do your schoolwork. A plant needs energy to make new leaves and to grow. Even some kinds of germs use energy when they make us sick. Living things get energy in lots of different ways, but they all need it to stay alive. Okay, rule number 2. Living things grow and change. You're bigger than you were when you were a baby, but you're not as big as you will be someday. And just like you, all living things grow and change, whether that means growing up or getting more branches and making new leaves like trees do. All right, rule number 3. Living things reproduce. Reproduce means to make more of something. When living things reproduce, they make more of themselves. For animals, that means having babies like kittens and puppies that will grow up to become adult cats and dogs. For plants, that usually means making seeds that can grow into new plants. Rule number 4. Living things respond to the world around them. In other words, when something around a living thing changes, that living thing changes too. For example, when you get cold, you might shiver or put on a coat. Both of these things will help you warm up, so that's how you respond to the cold. And in the same way, in autumn, when the days start to get shorter and the weather starts to get cooler, some trees lose their leaves. They are responding to the change of seasons. Great question, Squeaks. What about the leaves that have fallen to the ground? Are they living or non-living? Those leaves on the ground, even the brown dead ones, were part of a living thing, the tree. So biologists say that we still call them living things. Now, it might seem like there's some things missing from the rules, like what about moving? When you think about it, a lot of living things move, but not all of them do. Plants, for example, don't get up and walk around, but they're still alive. And there are things that move that were never alive, like shadows or the hands on a watch. Shadows don't use energy, and watches don't reproduce or grow. So if you're thinking like a biologist, then something has to meet all of the rules in order for it to be considered a living thing. If it doesn't, then it's not alive. Now, are you ready to test what you know about living things? It's game time! I'll name a thing, and you have to decide whether it's alive or not. First up, is an earthworm living or non-living? If you said living, you're right. Earthworms need energy to wriggle through the soil. They also grow, and they lay eggs that hatch into baby earthworms, which means they reproduce. And if you've ever held an earthworm, you know they respond to changes in the world around them. If you pick one up, it tries to wiggle away. All right, next up, is a cloud living or non-living? If you said non-living, you're right. A cloud may look like it grows because it might get bigger, say before it rains, but a cloud doesn't use energy and it doesn't have baby clouds, so it doesn't reproduce. And since it doesn't follow all the rules, it's not living. Okay, what about this stick? Is it living or not living? If you said living, you're right. This stick is living because it was once part of a tree. And since the tree is a living thing, then the stick can also be called a living thing. So you can use these easy rules to study everything you see around you. Go for a walk outside and take some time to stop and think about what you see. Icicles, acorns, pebbles, and grass, and look at the clues we talked about. Are they alive or not? Thanks for joining us on SciShow Kids. If you have a question for us, are they alive or not? Thanks.
Today's assignment, and that is for Studies Weekly. We are breaking in to science. For science, of course, go to Studies Weekly. Make sure that you are not using any saved link, but you are going to your PC SSD portal to get to Studies Weekly. If you can't see my class for any reason, instead of a picture of the articles here, you may have a teacher in a pink sweater. Look under her feet to change classroom and make sure that you find Adams for Science. That way you will see all the tests and the articles. So make sure that you are in the right classroom by clicking under your teacher's feet. It's a little girl right here or a lady in a pink sweater and blue shoes. Click Change Classroom. Click Change Classroom. Once you are there, you will see the article of the week, and that is Physical Science. No, it's not. It is Life Science, Cells and Organisms. Week 1, Life Science, Cells and Organisms. You will notice right away the test is not available. We're going to break this down to 2 days to make sure that we do not miss anything. Speaking of living things, that's exactly what this first article is about. Attack of the organisms. What is an organism exactly? That's what we will learn in the first article. Press play and watch the video. We have plenty of time, so make sure that you are pressing play to listen to the article and watching the video. After you are finished, you will scroll to the bottom. Of course, answer the questions. Notice, I did not go to the questions first. I read the article, then watch the video. Read the article, then watch the video. Before you go to the second article, what does it take to make an organism? Again, watch the video, guys. This is very important because in this article, we're learning about cells, and we know these are the foundations of an organism. So make sure that you are actually listening to the entire article and then watching the video. The third article, here we go, is an experiment. I know, it's an experiment. We don't have all the tools. Hey, guys, no worry there. You can still read through the article to answer the questions. You can still read through the article to answer the questions. So I want you to pause the video at this time, read the article, answer the questions. Make sure you read and answer, giving you time to press pause. And when you come back, this next part of the video will make sense. When you come back from completing that third article, I want you to view this video. We're looking at the onion under the microscope. So it's different to see it under the microscope than to read about it. And I want you to see exactly what it looks like. Here we go. I'm going to hit play here. Make sure I have the volume on.
The onion. Then slice the onion as thin as possible.
Now this is telling you how to do the experiment. Of course, we are not completing the experiment, but I do want you to watch it. This is the exact experiment that was described in your article.
Clean your microscope slide with an alcohol wipe. Do the same with the cover slip. Place your pieces of onion onto the slide and reposition them with a toothpick. Add a drop of iodine onto the onion. Drop on the cover slip. Apply pressure to the cover slip, but not enough to break it. Now your slide is complete. Now observe under a microscope. You will be able to see the cell wall and the nuclei of the onion cells. The onion's rigid cell walls allow the cells to be viewed under a microscope, and the iodine dyes the nucleus red, allowing it to be seen. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to see more.
Now that we have an idea of what the onion looks like under the microscope, let's see what the cheek cells look like under the microscope. It's so interesting to see the difference between the cheek cells and the onion cells. Yes, we can read about it. We even have a quick picture to the side here, but it's so different when we watch the video and we're able to view the cells. When it comes to this experiment, do not rush through it. If you have to go back and listen to the article again, please do so. You will be able to answer the questions even without completing the experiment. The questions should be last. You are going to stop at go to the next article, the fourth one and the fifth one. Microorganisms is the last article for today. You're going to read it. I would also like for you to explore more for this. That's one feature we don't usually use. And then answer the questions. We are stopping at microorganisms. Please do not try to work ahead. Do not try to complete the other articles ahead, guys. The first 6 articles have so much information. Do not go past the 6th article. Please do not say tomorrow, Miss Adams, I already finished the articles. No, no, no. That's too much information in one day. We tried that last week, and we didn't have enough people pass the test. So we are breaking this information down. It's reading it to you. Instead of reading it as a class, you are going to listen to the article. If you have to listen to this article 2 or 3 times, please do so. You have plenty of time during this independent study block to go through this video again, as well as the different articles that you see in front of you. We are only completing the first 6 articles today. We are only completing the first 6 articles today. Do not go past microorganisms. We are only completing the first 6 articles today. I know we did not finish the one from last week. That's okay. We have to move forward so that we're on the same page. We're starting at the same lesson for week 1, life science, cells and organisms, only the first 6 articles today. If you finish before your independent study time is up, I would encourage you to continue to research. You can even use Google on what is a cell, what is an organism, and then what are examples? What are examples of organisms? Can you tell me if something is living or if it's not living? What are the characteristics that make up the organism? So very important, guys, that we are grasping this lesson, that we understand. If you have extra time, another thing you can do is go back and listen to the article again. Do not rush through it. Take your time. Take your time. If you finish before independent study is over, then you are to go to Lexia or Redbird. If you finish these 6 articles before independent study block is over, go to Lexia or Redbird. And this concludes your independent study for today.